Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Roselind from University of Technology Petronas, and I'm happy to be here together with my friend from the Sarawak Museum. I'm together with Madam Dora Jok. Dora, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Rosalind. Good afternoon to everyone. I'm happy to be here. So my name is Dora Jok. I am Kayan from Longbamang, Baram, Sarawak. And I have been with the Sarawak Museum for the past 13 years. And now I am the head of collection management in the Sarawak Museum. And the collections are very diverse, which record or prove the heritage of Sarawak people in the museum. And the collections are from ethnology, archaeology, historical materials, and whatnot. Okay, Rosalind, back to you.
Thank you, Dora. Okay, so Dora herself, Dora herself is a Kayan from Longbamang, and I'm a Kayan from Long Panai. I don't know whether any one of you in the class today are familiar with Kayan from the Baram. Anyways, my longhouse is not very far from Dora's longhouse. Okay, moving on to our lecture today. What we're going to cover is about the Kayan Kenyah. We are going to start with the introduction to the Kayan and the Kenyah people of Sarawak, and then we continue with the culture, and we touch a little bit on the languages of the Kayan and the Kenyah, and then we end our sharing for today on the challenges that we think are quite prevalent among the Kayan and the Kenyah peoples of Sarawak today. All right, so what do we know about the Kayan and the Kenyah people of Sarawak? Who are they, right? If you are familiar with Orang Ulu, I think all of us are quite familiar with that. I mean, Sarawakians are familiar, I think, of the term Orang Ulu. So we are part of the Orang Ulu under the umbrella group of the Indigenous people of Sarawak. And under Honor Constitution, these groups of natives or indigenous peoples are all grouped together under this umbrella term. So Bukitan, Bisaya, Kayan, Kajang, the Klabit, Kenyah, and so on and so forth. We are together known as the Orang Ulu, right? And the Kayan Kenyah are part of this group. Okay, it is quite common actually for people to group the Kayan Kenyah together, simply because the two groups are quite similar. There are a lot of similarities among the Kayan Kenyah. For example, if you look at what Rousseau have written in 1998, he said that Rousseau has stayed with the Kayan for a number of years. Rousseau is an anthropologist who studied extensively about the Kayan, and this was his observation on the Kayan in Kenyah. Yeah, so he said that they shared a lot of cultural features that are quite similar in terms of the beliefs, in terms of the rituals, myths, songs. You know, if you are familiar with our music, the sape, actually, that's the music that I myself as a Kayan grew up with, you know, listening to when I was a small girl in the longhouse. So all these are actually very familiar music or musical tune that Kayan Kenyah people would have, listened to in the longhouse. So that's one of the things that is very, very common among the Kayan and Kenyah. And also the people are known to be, or the Kayan Kenyah are known to have very unique cultural practices as well in terms of how they physically decorate themselves in the sense that, you know, the what they say as beauty among the Kayan, you know, if you have the long ear and tattoos on the bodies, and particularly for women, tattoos on the bodies are, and even for the Kenyah as well, said to demonstrate that the maturity of the woman or of the girls. Yeah. And the other one is actually how the Kayan and the Kenyah have this practice of what do you call this, of building their longhouses near to the river. So you would be able to then you will see that the Kayan and the Kenyah longhouses are usually built by the bank of the rivers. Okay, and in the past, both of them also practiced the cultivation of rice, right? And they're also known for being very respectful. Yeah, but they are gentle, they are very courageous, and they have high regards for family and high regards for elders. Yeah, so the similarities among the Kayan Kenyah are something that we appreciate. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this, Dora, I think this is Long Bemang Longhouse. I think you mentioned, you mentioned about the Longhouse. So Long Bemang is the longest longhouse in Sarawak, or maybe in, I don't know, in the world. Maybe how many longhouses? How many doors do you have?
We have 300 doors.
Okay.
Yeah, and I divided into 5 blocks, very long. This is one of the blocks in Long Bemang. So this is one of the oldest one, and it's very long. Yeah.
Right. So in Long Panai, we do have quite a long longhouse as well. It's about 100 plus doors. So that's almost yours is almost double in Long Panai. Yeah. Okay, so this is the practice of the Kayan. We live in longhouses, and the Kenyah as well. They also live in similar kind of longhouses as well, near to the rivers. Okay, so we talk about the way that the Kayan woman and the Kenyah woman beautify themselves, or in the way that we say this is the mark of beauty among the Kayan and the Kenyah women, the long hair and the long ear. Yeah. So, but of course, this was a practice that was quite necessary in the past. You know, a common practice. I don't think. I don't know. Dora has ever had her ear like that. I don't know, but this was, Dora. Did you have that when you were a young girl, or now that you have
No,
you cut it, or you still there? No.
If I wish that I have this long ears, because it is our unique culture. But unfortunately, even long before I was born, this practice was no longer practiced.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to see it among our generation, I think, but for the earlier generation, like the older generation, you would have those practice of long ear. But of course, as a practice for to kind of get the, what do you call, how to say that, young girls, I think they do have the artificial ear that they would wear when they are dancing, I think.
Yeah,
but
it is
they would, I think, put that as a mark of their culture when they do traditional dance and performances. But this
allow me to say a little bit about this this culture. It is to signify the beauty of that person. So everyone, every girls in the longhouse in the past, it is a must for them to have this long ears, because if they do not have that, they are not pretty according to the society. So that's why it is a must. So that's why we see the older generation, everyone have this. But because of modernity, so they started to cut, but not our mother's time. Maybe our sisters' generation, they cut it because they exposed to this beauty. But I believe if they are given opportunity, I think a lot of us would like to have this kind of earring. If you look at our artists now, they have very, very big earring. So why not, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's something that is slowly, you know, disappearing, I think, among our people. And also for the men, I think previously they would also have long ear. If you see in this picture, I remember my dad has that as well. But at the top, there's a hole at the top, which I think they put the teeth of. Is it the teeth of? There's yeah. There's a hole on the ear like that, and then they put the teeth on the leopard or something. So that's also a sign of beauty or how handsome is a Kayan man in the past.
And
Right.
it's also actually to prove or to signify the craftsmanship of the Kayan Kenyah. To come up with this kind of earring is not an easy task, but they did that, and to prove that they are very, very good in workman, in any arts or any craftsmanship.
Okay. All right. So where do you find the Kayan and the Kenyah now? Yes, so we are mostly found in the Baram and also in Balu and Balaga. So if you go up the Baram River, I think as far as the upper Baram, I think you would be able to see the Kayan, and upper up would be the Kenyah people of Baram. And also in Balu and in Balaga, you would also see Kayan and Kenyah settlement as well along the Balu and the Balaga River. So if we look on at the picture on the right, that's actually the wharf or the tenement of my longhouse in Long Panai. So this is actually quite similar to the tenement of Long Bemang, I think. So you would see a similar site. If you're going to upriver to look at the Kayan and the Kenyah longhouses, you would be able to see this kind of tenement or wharf, which is how we commute or how we, commute to work. This is our main transportation or our main highway, as we would like to say it in the past. So you would be able to see the Kayan and the Kenyah in Baram and in Balaga by the, the longhouses would be built near to the river like this. But of course, in Kalimantan, you would also be able to see. I think that the bigger population of the Kayan Kenyah would be found in Kalimantan, in Upper Kayan, along the Bahau and the Pujungan tributaries of the Kayan River and along the Mahakam River. I have not personally been there, but I think, Dora, have you been to Kalimantan, to the Kayan area?
Yeah, I've been to Mahakam River. It's a very, very big river with a lot of what do you call this? A lot of what do you call this in English? I forgot. Jeram.
Rapid.
Yes, rapids.
Rapids,
And with a lot of like stone walls at the riverbank. It's not like our rivers in Baram, Rosalind. It's totally different. And the boat is they use a very, very big boat, and they use a very powerful outboard engine. Very powerful. So it's totally different. But very, very powerful and very mighty rivers.
Unlike our river, of course, this river, if you see the wharf here, is actually very calm. It's the tributary of the Baram River, so there is no rapid unless you go probably upriver. Anyways, this is basically where you will find the Kayan and the Kenyah, in the Baram and the Baloi and Balaga in Sarawak. So maybe some of you may be asking, are the Kayan also in Sabah? Unfortunately, no. The Kayan and the Kenyah are only found in Sarawak. Okay, but of course the Kayan and the Kenyah are originally from Kalimantan. If you see the map on the right, so the Usunapau and the Upper Kayan are two places that the Kayan would be very familiar with. Listening to stories from our elders, they would say, we are from Usunapo, or we are from Upper Kayan and all that. As a young girl, I think I used to wonder, where is that Usunapo, where is that Upper Kayan? But the Kayan are originally from the area what we call the central of Borneo, the mountainous plateau region of central Borneo. Okay, so we move on. Dora was saying about the myth about the origin of the Kayan, and the Kayan origin of myth as narrated by Pekliling. Do you want to add on this, Dora?
Yeah, okay, thank you. So allow me to share a little bit about this origin or the myth of origin. So according to, I think, almost all oral tradition that I heard, or even you heard also, that our elders or our parents always referred to, we are from the central Borneo, which are called Apokayan. So how we end up there was a myth. This was mentioned by Peliling. The story was captured during the Kayan Mentarang National Park project, or Kayan Mentarang National Park, when they started to work on it to develop, to have that Kayan Mentarang as a national park. So they collected the oral tradition. So one of it is very interesting to me. So it mentioned that in the days of Akabana, which mean many years ago, we do not know how long was that. So when the Kayan people ruled the Apakayan, so this means they always mention that they are from Apakayan, the central Borneo. That time there was no Indonesia, there was no Sarawak, there was no Malaysia, and then the Kayan always move around this central Borneo, across the mountain, and they go back to the mountain. So they always circle in this as what you see in this triangle area. So from Apokayan, then they moved to Usunapo. From Usunapo dispersed to Baram and Blagay and so on. So according to this story, in the days of Akabana, when the people, the Kayan ruled the Apokayan, a child was born, and his name was Lake Blare. Blare means thunder. It's a very powerful name, and even now we still have named our children as Blare Bakilat. Bakilat means lightning. So the name of the child was Kayan. So it was a long story, but to cut short, the boy met a girl, and the girl asked the boy what is his name, and he said, "My name is Kayan." So and the girl asked, "What is the name of this river?" So the boy said, "Oh, this is Kayan River." So that's why Kayan River is what we've seen or what we read now. So many Kayan people living in the area, which mean in Apokayan, and there was a tall tree and it's bearing fruit. So the boy Kayan went with his father to see the fruit, to see the tree, and to check whether the fruit is ripe or not. So the father is not yet. So you have to wait for. But you know, as a boy, they were so curious, then they would like to eat fruit as soon as possible. So after they left, but the boy went back to see the tree and check. Oh, he said the fruit is ripe. So then the boy went to his father and told his father the fruit was ripe. So his father said, "Go and get some." So of course they went with everyone or everybody in that longhouse. So all the people living in the area walked to the fruit tree and started eating the delicious fruit. After they ate the fruit, they all felt dizzy, and as if they had been drinking alcohol, and started talking in different languages. So I think if we relate to other stories like Bible stories, so it's quite similar to that. And once they recovered from the hangover, some of them left the area because they do not know each other already, because they spoke in different languages. So they headed for the mountains. So those who went up to the mountains, they were the Punan. As what we see even today, the Punan live quite far above the river from the Kayan. And some of them left for the lowlands and the sea. Those were the non-Dayak, like the Malay and the other people that are not Kayan. And those were the non-Dayak. So the Kayan people stayed, which was in this Apokayan. So they stayed in their land and kept their language. So this was the beginning of the time when we became the humankind, and so the story took place in Batu Pusan in Apokayan. So that's why we always mention that Apokayan is always our homeland, our ancestral land, and even people went to the spirit world also, they departed from this Apokayan. So that's the origin, that's the myth of the origin of the Kayan, how we were in Borneo. So we always mention that we were from Borneo, not from other else.
So that's the story of the origin of the Kayan. as narrated by Pearlie Ling.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. But the Kayan and the Kenyah as well. They as Dora was saying just now, they like to move around, but within the area. Yeah, Dora.
Yeah.
Within the central Borneo itself, within Borneo itself. But for the Kayan and the Kenyah, they particularly for this one, if we were to look at the pattern of migration, let me see. For the Kayan, they move in groups according to Rousseau. The Kayan, when they move from the origin ancestral villages in Kalimantan, they when they come to Sarawak, which is now Sarawak, they like to move in group. Yeah, so they would come under Uma Aging, for example, a group of Kayan, Uma Aging, Uma Apan, Uma Baho, Uma Balui Jile, Uma Balui Lepui. Yeah, so they group together according to the longhouses that they were originally from in Kalimantan to come down to Sarawak. Yeah, for example, my own longhouse, Long Panai, they came together as a group as well. They were known as the Uma Buluvo. And I think for Dora, the Kayan for Long Bemang could be under Umak Pau. This one probably, I don't know whether this is Umak Pu or Umak Pau.
Umak Pu, yeah, Umak Pu.
Umak Pu. So they move in group like that. So they migrated from the original ancestral home in Kalimantan to come down to Sarawak. If you look at the particularly pattern of migration of the Kayan Uma Buluvo, you can see that they left sometimes in the 1864, yeah, and they moved from Nahakule to Batu Halo, from Batu Halo 1880 to 1890, that is 10 years, and then they moved to the Tuto, and then from in Longwin, for example, and then a few years in Longwin, they moved to Tebeso, and then move on to Long Bawang, Long Apo, Long Bah, Long Panai. So this is basically, if you look at just one group of Kayan, this is basically quite similar to other groups of Kayan as well, because they are migrating for various reasons. They could be because there was the need for agriculture, good agricultural land for them to farm, or they might be fighting within groups, so it is necessary for them to have that kind of a place to go to, and a place that they can farm and grow and do farming and have fished, good rivers that have fished for them to fish. Yeah, so this is quite I think, Dora, quite common among the Kayan to be, yes, in the past. I mean, but not necessarily now. But in the past, they would after a few years they would have to move because they need new land. The land that they have been farmed has probably no longer is no longer suitable for them to farm, and then they have to move on to the other more better place, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if we look at this slide from Facebook, I found this quite interesting because I didn't know that we have so many longhouses in the Baram and also in other places like the Tinja. Tinja is a tributary of the Baram, of course, and then in Akah as well, in Patah, and then of course Apotuto. So if you look at this, you can see that the Kayan are quite well spread. Yeah, it's not just located in just one particular area in the Baram, but actually quite well spread. So the Kayan are divided into subgroups based on the longhouses. We always say, like, if you are from Long Akah, for example, or Long Laput or Sungai Dua, you have that particular way of speaking. Yeah, so it's interesting to see that the Kayan are well distributed in the Baram, and is also well distributed in the Tubau and also in Belaga. Which one is Jelalong? Jelalong, where is it, Dora? Jelalong Pesu?
Jelalong is Tubau or Bintulu, and Bintulu area.
And Apo Kayan is also in Belaga, right?
Apo Kayan, I don't know why they mentioned that they are Apo Kayan, but those the Uma under this Apo Kayan group, they are in Sungai Asap resettlement area.
So these are the new areas when they were resettled for the Bakun Dam.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken, yeah. So this particular area is the Apo Kayan, and you can see that there are several longhouses as well. These are the Kayan longhouses in Sarawak. So I don't know whether there are people in the audience that probably are originally from any one of these longhouses, from Belaga and from the Baram and from Apo Tutu as well. So if you are familiar with these longhouses, we are happy that you're here to listen to this presentation on the Kayan Kenyah. We hope that you are able still to recognize your longhouse, because some younger Kayan might not be able to recognize the name of the longhouse anymore. But it is interesting, Okay. Right, so the Kayan, we will move on to the Kenyah. So the Kenyah are also well distributed in the Baram and the Belaga area. You see that there are the name of the longhouse: Long Je, Long Mo, Leo Mato, Long Makaba, Long Simiang, Long Tugan, Long Sang, Long Slatung, Long Luyang, Long Palai. Maybe there are other longhouses that we were not able to capture here, but those are the longhouses of the Kenyah that are found in the Baram. And also in Belaga, the Sungai Asap resettlement area, you have Uma Sambop, Uma Badang, Uma Bakar, and Uma Kulit. So if it may be fair to say, Dora, it may be fair to say if you see a community of Kayan, you would also see quite not far away community of the Kenyah people as well. Yeah.
Yeah, right. For example, for example, Longwat in Apo, there are Kayan and Kenyah, and I think in Long Ikang also. Yeah. Not only that, also intermarriages are very, very common among Kayan Kenyah. Yeah.
So probably the language also, if we can say that, maybe later on we talk about the language, but in my memory, the Kayan and the Kenyah, it's almost like they are cousins. I don't know. I like to say that they are cousins. Yeah, because there are a lot of similarities between the two groups, basically. Okay, so what is unique about the Kayan and the Kenyah? I think I would like to, Dora, we would like to share on the social structure of the Kayan and Kenyah, and also the particular or the peculiar way that we give names to the Kayan. So the Kayan and the Kenyah are famous for this what we call the classes. Like you have different classes of the Kayan and the Kenyah. So we are highly stratified societies. You have several social levels. So the higher rank or the upper level in our society, we call them the Hipun Uma or the Maran Uma. So the Kayan call them either Hipun Uma or Maran Uma. The Kenyah, they call them Ketau or Paran Uma. So those are the people that, sorry?
Ketau
or Paran Uma. So that's the highest level in our society, the upper class, so to speak, upper class, and then you have the middle class. The middle class are the Panyin. So the Panyin are the original, the common people. Yeah, we are the Panyin. I'm a Panyin. Are you a Panyin or are you a Ipunuma, Dora?
I'm truly Panyin.
So I'm a Panyin, and Dora is a Panyin. But in our longhouses, we have the Hipun Uma people.
Yeah.
And the Hipun Uma people are the so-called privileged, the more privileged people in the longhouse. Yeah. But anyways, we find this a little bit I don't know. We kind of giggle about it a little bit, but this is quite a serious thing among the Kayan. This is where, when we look at the political, the way that the longhouse is being managed, it would then be the Uma, Ipun Uma, or the Maran Uma who are actually managing the longhouse. Yeah. Okay, the Panyin, we are the middle class people, and then we have the Panyin, we have the Dipen. The Kayan call it Dipen, and the Kenyah call them Panyin Lamin. So the Dipen are actually the slaves. We do not have slave category now. I think, Dora, I doubt whether we still have slaves, but in the past, we have this particular class of people whom we call the Dipen or the Panyin Lamin. And this Dipen or the slaves are actually the captives of war. Yeah. So if you are captive, you are brought to the longhouse to be the Dipen of the Maran Uma, or some for the Panyin if the Panyin was the leader for that particular war or something. But the Dipen, I don't think we have any Dipen now. Do you know if there is any Dipen now, Dora?
No, there's no.
I don't think so, right? Yeah. So basically, even though in the past there are 3 levels, but now we only have 2 levels. So you have the Hipunuma and then you have the Panyin. But I think the Dipen are were already absorbed into the Panyin because of intermarriage and all that, and because also the Panyin who owned the Dipen in the past, they would have accepted the Dipen into the household, and they become Panyin, part of the household already. So now in the modern Kayan, we do not have Dipen. We only have these 2, the Hipunuma or the Paranuma and the Panyin. Okay,
Rosalind,
so
yeah, Rosalind, maybe you can expand a little bit about who are the Maran. They are the headman, they are the penghulu, they are the temenggong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Hipunuma or the Ketau are politically dominant and allied with each other through marriage. So in the past, I remember it was the practice that the Hipunuma children will only marry with another Hipunuma, right?
Yes.
And if they could not find their partners in the longhouse, they would have to go out to another Kayan longhouse to look for the partner of the same class, because they have to maintain that status among themselves. Yeah, so the Hipunuma, as Dora said just now, are the headmen, the aristocrats of the Kayan and the Kenyah. I think in the current administration, they are called Ketua Masyarakat. They are called Ketua Masyarakat, and you have the Temenggong. You have the Temenggong, and then you have the Pemanca, and then you have the headman or Ketua Kampung. Ketua Kampung or Ketua Kaum. And the Ketua Kaum or the Ketua Kampung, the Pemanca, and the Temenggong are always from this Hipunuma, the aristocrat. It is unknown to have a Panyin to be the Ketua Kampung in a Kayan longhouse. So if you go to any Kayan longhouses, you will see if you would be welcomed by the Tua Kampung, and the Tua Kampung is always of the upper class people. Yeah. Okay, so their wealth in the past was gongs, beads, and jars. Of course, now it's more than that. But in the past, the Hipunuma are the one who would have access to all these so-called expensive gongs, beads, and jars. Of course, if you look at the beads culture, the beads would also have different categories to represent or to reflect this status, isn't it? But we are not going into that. But in the past, people would know who are the Hipunuma just by looking at the beads that they wear. So my beads is no longer. I don't think that we have that anymore. We have just common beads like this. But in the past, the Hipunuma would be differentiated by the kind of beads that they wear, I think, in the past. Okay, also, so the Hipponoma have control of bird nests, and they would have access to, I think, the better part of the land, I suppose, yeah. And then the middle class commoners are the farmers, craftsmen. Okay, we spoke about that already just now, right? So if there is anything that you probably want to take away from our sharing today, is the knowledge that the Kayan people is very unique in that sense. Yeah, it's unique in the sense that not anyone can be our headman. Not anyone can be our pemancar. Not anyone can be our temagong. Yeah, unlike probably other indigenous group, we are very peculiar in that sense, lah. Yeah. Anything to add, Dora?
Yeah, maybe we can look at the royal family in Malaysia now. Only the royal can become the sultan. So, like in the Kayan, also only those from the aristocrat family can appointed as the headman of Penghulu or Temenggung. And I would like to add a little bit on beads. Maybe some of the audience would like to know how this lukut sekala becomes so important, becomes so like very expensive, because
the lukut sekala. The lukut sekala is a particular type of beads, right?
Yes. Yeah. So why it's so important? I mean, why it was so important even now? Because during this wartime, so some of the family maybe become the slave. It was captivated, or become the taken during the war between this Kayan longhouses or from whoever, and then how they have to, what they call this, they have to get back the family, they have to pay this beads. So one lukut skala can buy back the slave, not ordinary slave, but the aristocrat or the family of the important people that were captivated during the war. So that's why this lukut skala come into this picture. So we can see how this lukut skala look like in the Sarawak Museum. It is in display. Yeah.
Okay, so that is lukut sekala.
Yeah,
that's a very expensive bead for the Kayan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other one that we wanted to highlight also is in the way that we give name to our people. Yeah, Kayan names are more than labels. So a Kayan throughout his life will accumulate a series of names, or aran. Some which indeed are no more than labels, but a number of transitions that require for them to change the name. For example, there is a death in the family, or a death of specific relative, or the birth of a child, or in the past, a person who became a priest would have the name given to him or to her. So names are given because of circumstances that a particular person have found themselves in, right? For example, let's share this one example of necronym in Kayan with terms of reference. So for father, we call father as Mai or Amai. Mother Inai Mo. A male who is old and unmarried is called Earth or At, Dora? At. Yeah. And then elder male not related is Amai. So if the person is called Ding, he is Amai Ding. Elder female is Hinai. If the female is Aran, we call her Hinai or Mo Aran. So these are how we call being respectful to our elders. But what we would like to highlight is basically how the name would change if the circumstance in the person's life has changed. For example, the first child of Aaron died, for example, then Aaron would become Uyong Aaron, for example, the female Aaron. Yeah. So if the first child died, her name she would be called by Uyong. Yeah, Uyong Aaron, or Uyu. Yeah. So if for the male is also called Uyong. So if Ding's first child died, he will be called by Uyong. So people do not call them just Ding or just Aren, because it will be disrespectful if you just go straight to call them like that. But putting in the acronym just now is to show that, oh, there's a change in the person's life already. Something has happened. Something sad has happened. I think Dora want to call this sad name, Namaste, you know, so something that has would inform people that something in the life of this person has changed. But in this case, it is a very sad occasion. So the first child died. When you see that the person Ding now is called Uyong Ding, then you realize that, oh, the first child has died. Yeah. So if the second child and subsequent child died, the Ding will now be called Akam. He is no longer called Uyong. Uyong was the reference to the time when the first child died. But when the second child died, he now becomes Akam Ding. And the mom Aren would then become Earth or Earth Ding, Earth Aren. Yeah. So again, we look at it. Oh, so sad. The second child has died. You know, I'm so sad. My Ding. Then he become Akam already. So when you make reference to him, Akam Ding or Earth Aren. Yeah. So it's sad in that sense. But again, it is to show that the circumstance in the individual life has somehow changed, yeah, and it is reflected in the names that we give to them. And the particular one when the husband or when the spouse died. So when the husband died, the woman will become Balo. So Aren will become Balo Aren, for example, if the husband died, or if the wife died, then Ding will become Avan. So you have this again change of name for a particular person. For example, this one, I put this as an example. Puyang, the maiden name is Puyang. So Hinan Aren. Oh, okay, this one is the name given for the first child, living child, yeah, born child. So he took the name of the child, right? Puyang is the maiden name. The first child is born. The first child is Aren. So Puyang now become Hinan Aren, taking the name of the first child. When Aren dies, Puyang become Uyong, as I explained just now. Now Puyang become Uyong Puyang. And then Puyang has a grandchild. Now Puyang will take the grandchild's name. The grandchild name is Tening. So now Puyang becomes Sepun Tening, right? And then, so you see how in the Kayan culture, we have these different ways to provide recognition for different stages or different circumstances of an individual. It can be very sad, or it can be very happy, like Hinan Aren could be a happy occasion because of the birth of a child, and then you take the name of the first child. So that's a happy occasion. But for the rest, I think Uyong is sad, but Sepun is a nice occasion. Sepun is to acknowledge that Puyang has a grandchild. Yeah. So this is something that among the Kayan, it perhaps is still practiced, but not to the extent that we practice it so much in the city. I think, Dora, I don't think we practice this as much. But when we go, particularly for me, when I go to the longhouse, when I go back to the longhouse, I try to remember whether this person has a child, and I will call this person by the child name. But basically, I think a lot of these names probably are not quite common among the younger Kayan. Yeah, but interesting to know that the Kayan has different ways to call an individual, depending or based on the changes that he would go through in his life or in her life. Okay, Dora, do you have anything to add on this one?
No.
Okay, so
I think
so we move
very clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, so we move to this one, the culture and the contribution of the Kayan Kenyah to Sarawak's culture. Probably, I think Dora will be explaining about this one. Yeah, Dora, you may want to start.
Yeah, okay. Maybe can we go back to the previous slide? Yeah. So I will be talking about culture and the contribution of the Kayan Kenyah to the Sarawak culture. And maybe some of the audience already knew what are the cultures that we have, and we have mentioned that the workmanship or the the arts of the Kayan Kenyah are very very unique. That a lot of people are like uh, learn to have this the skill. Yeah, we've seen this a lot now. Okay, so yeah, I mean, the next presentation will talk about the craftsmanship and the music and so on. So, but before that, I would like to talk about Sarawak Museum because I'm working in the Sarawak Museum. So, as what you have seen on this slide, we have two museums here, but in fact, we have many museums in Sarawak. We have more than 12 now. And the white one is the old museum, which was established or which was existed in 1891. The first museum on Borneo, the second oldest in Malaysia. So we were the only one in Borneo until 1965 when Sabah or Brunei Museum was exists also. So the new one, which we call the Borneo Cultures Museum, the one that in the golden color, which is very very big. We are this museum put Sarawak into a global map. We are the second largest museum in Southeast Asia, the largest in Malaysia, and now we are the benchmarking. I mean, we become the benchmark of a lot of museums in Malaysia now. How we come up with the storyline, how we exhibit objects, how in a lot of things. So it's a very very modern museum compared to the old one. So the old one is going to be open next year, and it's very interesting. So as I've mentioned that we are very active involved in the indigenous culture as because if you look at the collection that we have now, we have a lot of I mean the cultures of indigenous people including Kayan Kenyah contributed a lot to this Sarawak Museum. So even from then until now, the cultures of Kayan Kenyah and other ethnic in Sarawak are very interesting to other people outside Sarawak. So we become the subject of study in terms of culture, music, and so on. So because the museum has been exists more than 100 years old, so our object also more than a number of it more than 100 years old. So next one, yeah. Okay, so I would like to talk about the craftsmanship, but if the audience would like to know more, you are welcome to come to the museum because these objects are in display now in the museum. So the first one are the doors. Is crafted in a way, such a way, but no people can do this anymore. So the Kayan Kenyah are very skillful as woodworkers, metal workers, and canoe builders because we live by the live next to the river, right? So rivers are our highway, and so we have our cars. Those days were bought, so that's why the Kayan Kenyah are very good builders in canoe makers. So the Kayan Kenyah also they are very famous in terms of making sword or making like parang and other metals in farming and all this thing because we are shifting cultivators. We plant rice and all this stuff, so we need all this thing. So the one that the hilt, this is the hilt of the parang, belong to a very prominent figure in the Kayan. I went to his house, so he showed me this hilt parang. This is made of deer horn. So deer horn actually is very hard. So how he could carve this into become a very intricate design is very amazing. So what he told me, so this is one of the unique cultures of Kayan also, Rosalind. So how he got this design, how he got this skill was he was taken to the spirit world. He slept, I mean he was sleeping, and while sleeping he had this dream, and he was taken to the above world. So in that spiritual, they are the Kayan, and in that ruai, you know, the ruai, we call this longhouse, the ruai, or the common place, awa. So yes, there was this leader carving this design. So when he got back to the world, when he woke up, and then he still have this vision. So it quite disturbed him, he said, until, you know, because it was given to him, it was gifted to him, so he cannot ignore it. So he got this deer horn and carved it, and then only the vision disappear from his mind. So the Kayan Kenyah is very, very good in carving this kind of parang hue, and with the decoration, what we see here, these were made of bulu kambing, the goat fiber, and of course the color, give color. This is Sarawak color already. So the next to this, next one is the beads and the parang, the sword, of course decorated in beads. So Kayan Kenyah is very good in bead decoration also. Whatever they have, they would like to decorate the things in beads, even in musical instrument, even in the parang, even in the, you know, in the costume and all those things. So the next one here is this is old man from Longsan. I went there in many years ago. So he is making this what do you call this?
This is a Kenyah from Longsan.
Yes, Kenyah from Longsan. Yeah. So he also makes sape, and a lot of people from non-Kayan Kenyah also purchase this item from him. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And so in terms of music and dance, Kayan Kenyah are very, very good in this also. So as what I see in the museum now, there is a call pusa, or a group of they call it pusa, which is a persatuan of sape, but the members mostly not Kayan Kenyah. They are mostly they are mostly Iban and Bidayu. So they learn to play sape, and but they play the contemporary tune of sape. So sape is originally from Kayan Kenyah. The Kayan Kenyah were the one who created this sape. So according to these elders that related to this Hugh just now, also he went to this above world, the spiritual. He also learned how to play sape from this dream. So to play sape as good as Kayan Kenyah is not like you learn in the classroom or in the tuition center, but it must be, you know, given to you in dream, and then you can play very, very good. Yeah. So maybe Rosalind, you can add more on this sape.
Yeah, I think I was reading about Tusao Padan. I think if I'm not mistaken, he also dreamt the music, you know. So Tusao Padan is a Lepau Tau Kenyah, and he is the first world famous Sarawakian sape player. And Matthew Ngau is a Ngurik Kenyah. So the Kenyah people, you know, they have different subgroup as well. Matthew Ngau Jao is a Ngurik from Long Simiang Baram, and Matthew Ngau was a student of Tusao Padan. And Datun Julut, of course, is the famous Kenyah dance. When you hear the music, the sape music, and you see people dancing the long dance, they call it Datun Julut. That's the Kenyah dance. But among the Kayan also, we have similar dance. We call it Hivan Joh. Hivan Joh is also like that Datun Julut, and then we also have Hivan Sin. So long dance and a single dance to dance to the sape. Okay? And Kenyah also famous for the music. So I think in Sarawak, the Liling tune, I think. Many of the Sarawakian youth can or are quite familiar with this tune, which is actually a Kenyah tune, yeah, the Liling song. So if you look at this, like Liling, 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 uyau alung liling. But this is actually a Kenyah song, and I remember this when I was growing up in the Longhouse. I'm a Kayan, but this song was also widely played during Christmas. Yeah, so they would sing this, and we would just follow it, and then we would dance as well. So this I think is a legacy that is. I'm very pleased to see that it becomes quite mainstream now, because singers have started to sing the different lyrics, but still using the tune of the Liling. So this was something that I took from Pech Lin Chong. This was a translation. If we can share the meaning of the song, I think it would be good for us to share with our audience as well, Dora. Yeah? So you see, it is all about the Longhouse also. In the song, it's about dancing. It's about being happy. You know, it's about dancing in the veranda at the hour of the Longhouse. Alam ini telu tiang. How to sing? I don't know. Dora, do you know how to sing this?
I don't know how to sing.
I don't know. Yeah, but this is a very famous tune that I think young Sarawakian are also getting to learn how to sing these two songs. Again, we salute our Kenyah cousins, because they have very good melodies, and the songs now become quite mainstream for Sarawakian to sing. Yeah, so we salute them. Okay, so beadwork, Dora, would you like to continue on this one?
Yeah, okay. So beadwork, actually, this is mostly like the women world. I could say this is the women world, because not totally women world, because the material collection like this palm and like wood are done by the man or done by the husband, and the women, the wife will do the craft work at night time. So the first one on my life is belong to the Kayan. That is the design. This is a sun hat, yeah, a sun hat for them to go to work, and also for festival, like for Barang Regatta. If you go to Barang Regatta, you will see the Kayan will wear their sun hat, the Kenyah will wear the sun hat, the Brawan also, they have a little bit of different in terms of design and in terms of color. We Kayan Kenyah, we know that, you know, I think you also, Rosalind, would like, I mean, can differentiate, or this is Brawan, this is Kenyah. But from outside Kayan Kenyah, maybe they said, oh, this is Orang Hulu, but we know this one is belong to the Kayan, this one belong to the Kenyah. So the red one in the middle belongs to the Kenyah, and also the Brawan. Yeah. And the baby carrier, this is for Kayan Kenyah, a long time ago, carried their baby at the back. So this is very useful. So at the same time, they can do the work, the hands are free to do the work, and then the baby at the back sleeping or those things, or even when the baby are crying. So this is they carry them on the back, and then comfort the children from crying also. So the last one is the basket. This is ajat, but as I mentioned just now, Kayan, they're very creative. They are very, very rajin lah. So whatever they see, they would like to put beads on it. So this is actually made of rattan, but then they put this beaded panel on it. So it is like our bag last time. I mean, in those, I mean, now it's our bag to carry our things. So in those days, this bag is the function is like that. So just now Rosalind mentioned about the beadwork can differentiate the status of the person who wearing this. So the baby carrier, we can say that this is belong to the aristocrat family because of the head and the hornbill. So this is specifically for the aristocrat family. So
you mean the design? You mean the
yes,
design itself?
the design of the baby carrier. Even the beads also and the decoration also signify the status of this person that in using this baby carrier. So it's very unique. Yeah. So next one, okay, oral tradition is back to you again, Rosalind. This is your field.
So just a little bit on the oral tradition of the Kayan, particularly the Takna. Yeah, as you know, I think it's not just the Kayan, Dora, also the Kenyah as well, and generally all if not all, indigenous people from the oral culture. Meaning to say that we do not have a written culture. We don't have written books or history that was written in our language, in the past. And then we do not learn our culture from a written literature. So it's all from the oral culture, right? So our values, the attitudes and beliefs of the Kayan, of our ancestors, they are transmitted via the oral tradition. So in particular, the Takna, it's a very famous old tradition of the Kayan. It's a form of storytelling. It's about long epics of travels and migration or history that are transmitted in poetry. So it's like a poetry storytelling. Yeah, so you're telling a story of how they migrated, from Kalimantan down to Sarawak, what they went through, the challenges that they went through. Those would have been narrated in the form of the Takna. Yeah. And also I think the epics of Dora, I think you mentioned the epic of Belawan, yeah?
Yeah.
The epic of the Belawan. These are stories about the Kayan heroes in the past, and even spirit, spirit in the spirit world, and how the Kayan see themselves, the worldview of the Kayan would have been depicted in the storytelling in the Takna. Yeah, but of course now it is something that unfortunately it's quite no longer practiced. It's an art that is disappearing, I believe, and it is quite unfortunate that the younger generation are losing this art because it is something that is very important among the Kayan in the past. Okay, so what I'm showing here, actually, it was, maybe I don't have to tell the whole thing, but this was one of the workshops that we had in Miri, where we wanted to capture the Takna, as part of our documentation program to document the oral tradition of the Kayan. Okay, so if you see here, you have the older generation, so to speak, of the Kayan who are still able to sing this. But for Dora and myself, unfortunately, I do not know how to sing this. But and Dora, I don't know whether you can still sing it.
Yeah.
But it is a cultural practice that used to be the mainstay of our culture, because this is how we tell our stories, and this is how the Kayan are able to transmit, the values to the younger generation. Unfortunately, we may be losing this because probably it is no longer as common as it was in the past. I was thinking to show a little bit about the Takna. I want to play this for a short while to give you a flavor of the Takna. Yeah, this was recorded for a study that I did on the Kayan in Long Panay. Let me see if I can play it.
Kalau idang dibeli ko bulan ngembang, kalau na na jaka ani taka tak na alam lu
Udang dan pe
ida lo na hui pa ni mo hui ni hua kui ida na da ho lang ni pa kan lo di men nu na
jewe
ida e na puyo ali.
Okay, so I am not going to play it all, but what is interesting for us to see here in the lyrics of the Tekna, it's always about nostalgia about the past, you know, how we were in the past. The Kayan were always together, the Kayan were united, you know, we were prosperous, we were together as one heart. So if you can read from the lyrics of the Tekna, it is a nostalgia about how wonderful it was to be Kayan, how wonderful it was to be living in the longhouse, how wonderful it was to be united. So it was about missing a time where life was peaceful, life was different. Yeah, so it's about reminiscing about the past. But of course, different people would have different stories to tell. For this particular Tekna, it was about reminiscing about the past and also hoping that, you know, Kayan of today are able to strive and, you know, and be able to do well, you know, because sekolah, I think she mentioned about sekolah now, the Kayan go to school, you know, it's different. It's not like in the past. So Kayan way of passing down values, passing down you know, stories, oral. So we are from the oral tradition. So our history were told via this kind of practice, yeah, for the Kayan. Okay, Dora, we move on to marriage.
Yeah.
I think very quickly because we may be taking a lot of time already, but we wanted to highlight that among the Kayan, if you are from a different social class, remember we are talking about the different classes of the Kayan. You have the Panyin, and the Hipun Uma. In the past, the Hipun Uma or the aristocrat children are not allowed to marry out of the class, you know, so they have to go out to look outside in other longhouses in order to find a suitable match to the children. But now it is more acceptable for cross marriage in that sense, you know, cross classes. So if Maran Uma children or a child wants to marry a Panyin, they have to undergo this kind of class conversion, right? So you have to be converted to be a Maran, to be accepted to be part of the social upper class in order for you to be able to marry a partner from that particular class. So if you see this in the picture, if you see something like this on stage, this is to show that this is a marriage among the aristocrat, basically. Yeah? So you would have the pengiring of the pengantin to carry the head, the girls carrying the sun head, and the gentleman or the guys carrying the, what do you call this? Kelebit?
Yeah.
Kelebit and the bakin.
Yeah.
Kelebit and the bakin. Yeah, spear or the bakin, you call it. So this would be I think an upper class wedding. The normal Panyin wedding, we do not see this kind of display, right? For this particular one, there was a conversion ceremony to accept the groom, yeah, because the groom is from the lower class, the lady or the bride is from the upper class. So there was a ceremony whereby the groom needs to present the bride with the gong and to be accepted or to be seen acceptable to be upgraded, so-called upgraded to the upper class. Yeah. So therefore, to be a good match for the bride. Yeah. So a kind of intricate way of marriage among the Kayan particularly if you are crossing the classes. Yeah, you marry up. If you're from the Panyan and then you go, you marry up to the upper class aristocrats. So there has to be this conversion ceremony that has to, you have to go through in order to be accepted. Okay, Dora, moving on to physical adornment onto that.
I don't know if we have enough time or not. Yeah, so
very quickly.
Yeah, this is in the past. The women have tattoo, so it's also to certify the social status of this women. Only certain people can have a certain design or certain motif of tattoo on the hands and on the legs. Yeah? Okay, next. And long.
I think we mentioned this. Yeah, I think we mentioned this already just now. Yeah.
Yeah. Next one.
Okay.
Very quickly. You have to.
I'm worried that we might be taking too long. You know, so we go very quickly now. Right. So we mentioned about the Kayan Kenyah having cultural similarities, yeah, between the two groups. Both inhabit overlapping territories in central Borneo. Both live in similar styles longhouses. Both use large metal earrings to stretch their earlobes. And both have similar styles of dress, dance, and music, and including culturally distinctive form of sape. So we have already covered this, but now we go very quickly to the language. So the Kayan and Kenyah, for the Kayan, there are different variants. I'll talk about the variants shortly, but looking at the Kenyah language, there are also different variants, which I think we will not cover here, but suffice to say that the Kenyah language would have different variants that would be quite distinguishable within the group, I think. All right, for the Kenyah language variety, we have four very distinctive variety. We have the Umakpu, which is actually the language of our Bible. And there is a dictionary in the Umakpu Kayan variant. And then we also have the Umapiliao Kayan variant, which is spoken by the Kayan in Long Miri. And then we have the Uma Bawang variant, spoken by the Kayan of Uma Bawang. And of course, the Uma Buluvuh variant, which is spoken by my people in Long Panai. Okay, so the Kayan and the Kenyah language, if you look at this particular status of language endangerment, you see that the Kayan language is actually at level 6B, which is a threatened language. So a threatened language is a language whose oral use is minimal and shows a downward trajectory, meaning to say it's almost shifting. The Kayan people is now almost shifting to another language. We are not there yet. Some of our children, I think Dora's children, they are still able to speak the Kayan language, but we are at the edge, I think, of shift, which is quite troubling for me, because that will be quite unfortunate to see, to have Kayan not speaking Kayan anymore, and to have Kenyah not speaking Kenyah anymore. And we will probably lose, our language if that so happen. Okay, Dora, challenges. Probably you would like to go through some of the challenges.
We talk about cultures and musical and dance and belief, but because Kayan, they are not in the village. Most of us are not in the village now. We only go back once a while, maybe a few times a year, but for Christmas, for example. So of course, as what I showed in this slide, that is the village that is not, people are started to have to build their own house, not in the long house anymore. That is one. And then from that, other cultures also start to be forgotten. And the carving or the painting is started already like a lot of people forgot how to do this arts anymore. The one that shown here was belong to this our paramount chief in Longsan, who passed away long time ago, Tumugong Oyong Lawai Chow. That is his paddy barn. And the one on my right is in Long Miri, in the hall, but the new hall they don't have this anymore. So it started to, not many people are doing this anymore. And also this a lot of things like painting, panghood or wood shaving. Wood shaving is very, very interesting also because it shows how many layers, how many string also signifies something, but we are not doing that anymore. Usut angah means like farewell, but in a way that we do not want people to go home, so we put the what you call this suit, black suit at the face, so this means we don't want them to go home. We want them to stay. That's why we make them dirty. But we're not doing that anymore. Tedak means tattoo. We're not doing that anymore. The elongated earlobes also, we don't have, but we have the artificial one. And blacksmith also is no longer in the Kayan and the Kenyah, but in the Penan. Penan is doing this blacksmith culture now. And musical instrument like the juice harp, the kaluri, like the nose flute is what shown here. Only this very, very a few people can play this kind of musical instrument. And traditional longhouse is going to be, and it is going towards like going to a very, very modern longhouse anymore. And traditional marriage practices, we skip a lot of steps, or we skip a lot of SOP in marriage practices, I would say. Some people they just go for marriage, no tunang and no nyivuk. We in Kayan we have nyivuk, or what do you call it, petang doh. We don't have that anymore, Rosalind. So that is a lot of our culture, very interesting culture, no longer in practice. So the next one, this is a kaluri. This was taken from museum photograph collections. This was very before Sape, people like to play this kaluri. It's very like very, what do you call this, so semangat for you to dance when people play this kind of music. This is what they call this kaluri, but I myself never seen or never heard of this kind of music anymore. But it just stay in the museum. Just stay in the museum, but at least it's not vanished at all. So next one, I think that's it. Yeah, and yeah. So also, as I mentioned just now, so these are in the museum. But yeah, it's transferred from the community to the museum. But yeah, luckily we have museum, so we preserve all this in the museum. All right,
would you know whether the carvings Kenyah, Kayan, or you wouldn't be able to distinguish?
Yeah, so the mural painting was done by the Kenyah. The middle painting was done by the Kenyah Brawan. The painting with two tigers in the Kayan longhouse, and also the one that I shot earlier. So the doors belong to either Kayan, Kajang, Kenyah, and even Kabit also. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so I think we are at the end of our presentation on the Kayan Kenyah. Hopefully we have not overshoot our time. We didn't really look at our time, but we have shared in a very general, almost superficial way, some of the things that are interesting about the Kayan Kenyah peoples of Sarawak, where they are at right now, where they were originally from, and the different cultural practices of the Kayan Kenyah, and also our concern about the vanishing culture of the Kayan and the Kenyah. Hopefully our presentation has been useful. And Dora, any last word?
Yeah, thank you to you for, we have this same platform to share our thoughts on our cultures. hopefully through this session, younger generation are aware that the cultures is very important. So we would like it to be preserved and stay in the community forever. And thank you to the organizer for giving us this time and this platform for us to share on Kayan Kenyah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so right. Thank you so much.